So good afternoon, students. Let us start. So anybody, any questions in the last session? Anyone? Any observation? Yes, Debasam?
Sir, that ellipsis operator that you showed in the last class, sir, it was mentioned that we can only use one ellipsis operator in a function argument. So, like,
Okay.
so
Okay.
how
If
to?
it was mentioned, I need to check it.
So it was mentioned that
Right?
it should be only one and it should be the last argument.
Okay. I will check and let you know on this, Debasam.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So anyone else? Any other question? All right. So this is all what we have discussed: class, variables, methods, constructors, and passing information to the method or a constructor. Then we learned about the overloading of methods and overloading of constructors. We call them parameterized constructors. Then arbitrary number of arguments and ellipses. So one answer to this could be the based on we have discussed yesterday also that in Java what we do basically is like this. We have a function, and what we want to pass here is that is object dot and maybe a variable a, because it is an n number of arguments. This example also we have seen yesterday, if I remember correct. Have you seen this, Debasam?
Yes, sir, you displayed this. You passed scanner and other objects.
Yes. So that's the answer to your question basically, because we are able to do all of this using a single thing only. I think it was there somewhere. Yes, this. See, why would I require more than one ellipsis operator, more than one operators in a line? Tell me.
Yes, I
You are
got it. You can
correct.
pass
Right.
anything like that. Okay.
Yes. Yesterday I told you that we can have two, but if you read it somewhere, so and yesterday we were also having some error here while we were trying to do this. There was an
Yes.
error. So yes, I think you are correct in that sense. It was saying the variable must be the last parameter. Yes. So there can be only one, that has to be the last one. So that was the
Yes.
error yesterday also. But for any reason, if you want more than one kind of an argument, then this is the thing that we can do. So if I set object dot a, that means I can have n number of arguments and n type of arguments. The example we have seen here as well. That first argument is string, second is scanner, third can be maybe new thread, and fourth can be something else also. So we can see these are different kind of things. New double, comma, new integer. Right? So we can have these are something deprecated, right? It is a deprecated, that's why there is a strike mark here. We should not use it. Otherwise, see, we can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 arguments of all different types we are able to pass just by using one epsilon ellipsis operator. Right? So I think
Yes,
this
sir.
answers
Got
the
it.
question.
Yes, sir, that was my question. Thank
And
you.
we can correct that particular thing, all of us, which we discussed yesterday, that we can have someone asked and I said we can have any number of. So thanks to the Besom to correct it, we can only have one or ellipsis operator in a function parameter, that has to be the last one. So see, if I'm writing second one, the first one is getting the error, but it cannot be the first one, it can only be the last one, right? So this is about ellipsis, and I will update it in the slides as well. Good point observed.
Sir,
Then
hello.
parameter names. Hello. Yes,
Yes,
Nandir.
I have a question. So, if we create two constructors, one default and one parameterized, and then in the main function we call the parameterized constructor, like passing the values. So, sir, which function will be called first? Like I made this code while in lab, so the parameterized was called first and then the default.
see what happens there. Let me show you. Default should not be called, otherwise it will be called first. In the same example, we can see.
So like I thought the default will be called first because as soon as the object is created.
No, see, if you are calling a parameterized constructor, then that will be called. The first line of that constructor is default constructor always. That is written by the compiler. If we are writing it manually, then no. See here, the class is hello. Hello obj is equal to new. If I run this program, there is no output. There is no constructor at all, right? Now suppose if I say a parameterized constructor here, hello int a is out a parameterized, right? Obviously, if I try to run this program, it will not run now because whatever compiler was giving me is not at all available now. So this is a compile time error. So I cannot create an object with a default constructor if I have written a parameterized constructor, right? So I have to pass some values, otherwise it is a compile time error. If I pass a value, then obviously it will be executed. We cannot see what is written in the default constructor. So obviously it is created. Third thing what we can do, I will also create a default constructor with us, a default constructor, right? And now if I run this program, so we'll check whether default is called or not. So see, because we are explicitly calling this one, so default is never called in that case. Is it clear, Nandit?
Yes, sir. Then I think I did some error because in the default was also being called.
No, if you have seen something like that, maybe you have done inheritance somewhere. If
Yes,
there's an
sir. I did
inheritance,
inheritance.
then
Yes.
one thing, yes, then there is one thing that in this constructor, there is one thing always written, and that is this. You write it or do not write this. First line in any constructor is this one. So we are going to discuss this during inheritance. So that the output should be from the parent class, not from this class. So because for right now, this super means constructor of the object class, but object class constructor do not have any system.out.println. So we do not see what it is doing. Got it? In your case, if you write it or do not write it. So because we are going to see it later, but still I'll show you this thing here, what you have observed yesterday. Class some parent. Just I'm making one dummy parent class. And inside this, I'm saying sysout I am parent. And my that thing applies there what I told you, that there can be no child without a parent being created. You remember this thing I have told in one of the class, that we can never have a child without a parent. This
Yes,
is a
sir.
universal truth, right?
Yeah.
We all cannot be without a parent. So suppose this hello extends some parent class. In that case, see, I have not written anything here. But if I'm creating object of hello, even without any of these things, see, I have not written any, you can see no constructor is there, and I'm creating an object of hello, and you will see some output here. See, I am parent. Can you see? Nothing
Yes.
we have written, no constructor at all, but still the constructor of the parent class is automatically called. Why? Because even if you write like this, right, still you will see the same output. Because anytime, whenever you are going to create a child, first of all, parent has to be created. So every time there is something like this written here, you write it or not, exactly you will find the same output. This means you are calling a super class constructor. This is what it means. Even if you do not have this one, you have a parameterized constructor. And I run this program. So parent is always created, no matter what kind of a constructor you are using. So this is the scenario where you have seen this, that you have not written and default is being called, not from the same class, but from the parent class, right?
Okay, sir.
Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone else? Any question? These are very good questions. This is what I want you people to understand, the very basics of these, how all of these things happen. Right. So moving ahead, then we discussed about everything in Java is passed by value, still a big difference between primitives and objects. So the big difference, what is the big difference basically? If I come to my main function and I create a variable here, maybe a, you will see because it is a primitive, it is not the object. If I press Control space, there is no function at all, right? So this is not an object. It defines, it is not the object because it do not have any function inside it. But I think this we have seen in lab. In lab, I have shown this thing. If I create reference of an integer, now this is a class, and these are called as wrapper classes. And then I press a dot, then I can see how many functions are there specific to this integer. Whatever you want to do with the integer, you will find everything. These are from the integer class. Divide, highest, maximum, minimum, whatever this. So you can have a function to find maximum out of two integers, right? So these all are because of objects. So if yesterday we have seen this pass by value and pass by reference thing, we have seen, yes or no? Difference between pass by value and pass by reference, how this affects in Java. Yes, if you pass something, then you actually pass the reference, not the object, right? You always pass the reference. And because you are passing the reference, that's why it is always passed by reference. So I think it was somewhere here, yes. See, this was the example that we have seen yesterday. Swapping example we have seen. Let me try this in code today. You will understand there well. What we can take here is, suppose I create a variable int a. I would require many classes to demonstrate this, but still I'll try. Void some function. Okay, let me make a swap function only that will demonstrate. Swap. Okay. I don't think this will also work. Here is the concept of shallow copy. Let us check. It will not work here. Okay, I'll give you this example for this thing while we study a topic called as cloning. Because there are many things that we need to understand here. This is a shallow copy, what we have just seen. So during cloning, I'll explain you this part, the example which I was trying to give you, because that will take us to advanced topic right now. What we want to understand here is regarding the reference passing. So instead of this example, again, we'll take the previous one. Int a word fun, because this is a wrapper class. Wrapper class contains something else also. Still, let us see. A is equal to yes. See here. First, look at the code. See, this is a class demoref. This contains one integer variable a, right? We have a function inside which we pass something of demoref, right? And we set whatever is passed that value to this particular one. Okay. We created two objects here, obj1 and obj2. The a of obj1 is 10. The a of obj2 is 20. We printed these values and we can see output is correct, 10 and 20. Then with the help of object 1, I called function and passed the object 2, right? So what is this being copied from here is this obj2 object reference. So object was created here only. It is not the object. It is just the reference to which whatever address was there. So see what is happening here. This thing created an object. Maybe the address is 1001. This thing created the object. Maybe the address is 3001. Okay. We said obj1.a पे 10 चला जाए. Dot a is equal to 10 and dot a is equal to 20. Then we printed the value. We could see 10 and 20 here. Then we said obj1 dot fun. That means 1001. We are at this address right now. From here we are calling the function because we are in this box only. And we are passing 3001 address inside it. Okay. This address goes here in this reference variable, and this says a is equal to, because this is 3001, this means 3001 dot a. So this a is what? This a is this one. We are inside this box only. So this a is equal to 3001 dot a, whatever has been passed. So what was there? It was 20. So we see here we got 20. If the same kind of thing we had to do in C language, then it would be something like, obviously this was not possible because this is an object through which we are calling in C language. But to send this value obj2, address of this value, whatever we are getting obj.a, we would be using an ampersand operator. And also for this also we would require somehow access this. So many things are coming here, like this thing, what is working here is this that we are going to discuss today. And from here, the obj, it is actually the value, because this 1001 is the address, it is stored inside obj1. obj1 is a local variable, a reference variable that stores 1001. It do not store the actual value, it only stores the address. So whenever we say anything like this obj1.a, that only means that we are trying to go to this location, and there you will find something called as a. So this line, if it was written in C language, it would be written something like this: pointer star obj1 is equal to maybe malloc or calloc, right? And then again typecasting something. Then you would be getting this kind of an object to which you can directly access through the memory location, because this would contain 3001, right? That is, so what I mean to explain you here is, we are always sending a value. This is copied. If I see the value for obj2 here, this is a local variable within the main function. It has the value of maybe 3001. This value is copied to this obj. I'm saying copied because it is passed by value, right? In the pointers aspect, its reference used to be sent when we use pass by reference. So what they are saying here is that even we are using pass by value, still it works exactly like pass by reference. Whenever you pass any reference, you are actually passing the actual object there, which can be accessed inside it, because you actually pass the address where that actual object is, right? Is it clear, this part? That everything is Java is passed by value, still there's a big difference between primitives and objects, right? Because if we were using primitives, then we would be using something called as ampersand or something, but still primitives also work here in a pass by value and still by pass by reference, because whatever you pass in case of a primitive also, those things are also converted to the wrapper classes, the integers, float, double, or whatever they are. That's why they are also passed in the same way. That thing is called as auto boxing, unboxing. Okay. Then we discussed about the creating objects. That how do we create an object? We declare a reference variable. We instantiate the new keyword. So whenever you call a new keyword, you actually instantiate. You create an object. The example is a 5x5 cube. Then with the help of a constructor, so the new operator is followed by a call to a constructor which initialize a new object. So that is a constructor that actually build whatever you want to build out of that particular object. Whatever 5x5 piece we have received previously, this is the outcome of a new. This is what we call as an object of object class. On to this, there happen an initialization, that is your constructor that happens. It initializes it. And garbage collection is automatic here. In C language or C++ language, you used to do something like this. Destructors were there, remember? Destructors were there for C++, like constructors, they were destructors, so that you can free the memory that you have occupied. Also, for any pointers, there was a function, free PTR. These were the functions for pointers to free the memory. This was the destructor. So this was what we called as garbage collection in C, C++. You have to do all of this stuff in your code. When you were learning pointers, you were told that do not forget to write this. Otherwise, your memory will never be reallocated to someone else while your program is running. So whenever your work is done, you should free up that pointer. At the end of your program, you should be calling destructor, so that whatever object you have created, that has to be destroyed. Kind of a recycling process, right? But here in Java, that is automatic. You don't do anything. JVM takes care of this for you. That is your garbage collection, and that is automatic, right? Then, once the object is created, it can be used to reference an object field. So if you have created an object, then you can call obj.a. So for that field, because whenever we create an object, what we do? If it is an object, so inside this, there could be some fields and some functions, right? This is obj, and this is at some location. So whatever obj you have, this is a reference variable which contains address of this particular object, and with the help of this function, reference variable, you can call its field A or B or any method. So once created object can be used to reference an object field, call an object method, return values from the method, complete all the statement in the method, reaches a return statement, or throws an exception. So these are basically when, suppose you have written this function fun, void function inside some class, really it will be inside an object. So what they are saying is that when do a function return values from the method? So first thing is complete all the statement in the method. So if your statement has 5 lines of code written here, it will complete all of those, and once it reaches the end of block, it will return the value or return to the from where it was called. Otherwise, maybe you have written somewhere in between return keyword, or maybe return some value if it was an int, suppose. So if it reaches here, it will return from here only. And third way happens that we are going to study later, that in any of the line, there could be something called as an exception, throw exception like this. If this happens, no matter there are many lines there, still it will return to somewhere from it where it was called. And if we have written this here, obviously it would be written something we'll find here as well. So later we will see, either we write it here or we have something called as try catch block. Then it will not return. So these are all the things where your method returns once the object is created. Returning a class or interface covariant return type, right? So again, this we are going to study in inheritance. If I skip it, please remind me for this, anyone. Covariant return type, right? This is something related to method overriding and the return type. That is your covariant return type, right? Okay, then comes this keyword. So what is this keyword basically? Within an instance method or a constructor, this is a reference to the current object. The object whose method or constructor is being called, you can refer to any member of the current object from within the instance method or constructor by using this. Also used in constructor to call other constructors. So we'll see this with the help of a code. See here. understand the need of this, right? It is a very simple concept, but still we should understand why this is and why do we use it. So I'm creating some constructors. Int a comma b. Suppose I have these two variables, these two fields inside my class. I might also have one more constructor, public, this example, int a comma int b, or maybe first I'm writing int c comma int d. A is equal to c, b is equal to d, right? And then I have a function public int sum return a plus b, right? See it carefully. I have one default constructor. It has nothing to be passed. It will just print this thing. I have one parameterized constructor. So here maybe I will also print sysout object created with a is equal to this and b is equal to this. And then we have a sum function that do summation of a plus b. So these were the variables a and b, default, parameterized, and a function. In my main function, first I'm going to create an object of this example, obj1 is equal to new this example. Then I will create one object of this example, obj2 is equal to new and here for this parameter I'm passing two values, maybe 10 comma 20, right? And then I say obj2 dot sum, and I will print the output of this. This is obj2 that contains 10, 20, and I'm printing the output of this. So basically this is just for dummy that I have created with the default. And first let us run this and we will see everything is working fine. For the first line, I am a default constructor. This thing is being printed, no problem. For the second line, a parameterized constructor is called that is setting these values, whatever variables I have here, int a comma b. A will be set it to whatever c contains, b is set it to whatever d contains. So we have passed 10 and 20. So we can see here a is equal to 10, b is equal to 20. That means we have perfectly set it. Then we said, okay, obj2 dot sum method. We called it, it returned us a plus b, and we got 30 as an output. So everything is working fine. So where is the use of this operator? Now see it carefully. First of all, right here I am printing something. Sysout obj1. Many things are coming in this. Please see it carefully. Sysout obj2. What would be the output? Tell me. Of these two lines. I have directly said print obj1 and obj2. What would be the output? Anyone else? obj1, obj2. What will they print onto the screen? Address. Anything else? See. This is the class name, then the @ sign, and then something else. Right? What is this? Tell me. See, you can see this. This is the class name. that obj1 is of this class, so class name is written, then at the rate is written, and then something else is written. What is this particular thing? What we can see here? Probably instance ID. Yes, it is instance ID to uniquely identify the instance, that from this class there is a some instance, right? But we'll just come to this. We have to understand what is this, and we will see how we can change this. Okay. But before that, let me do one more thing. Inside this, also I will say sysout. Suppose I want to print the same thing here as well. Is there any way by which I can get this thing here? That obj. If I write obj, it is an error. It will say what is obj, I do not know, because it is inside the main function. It cannot come here, right? So this can obviously not come here. Then similarly, but I want that, see, someone has called this. When is this called? This example. This is called when you create a new object. So is there any way by which at the time of creation of this object, I can come to know what is the address given to me, right? What is the reference to me? What is going to be stored inside obj1? Can I know that? Getting my point? See, this is an expression. How do expressions work? We know this precedence from C. They work from right to left. So obviously everything on the right happens first, then it is stored to obj1. So when this object is created, it will have some address or reference, whatever it is. It is being going to obj1. And whatever we are seeing here, that is nothing but obj1. So obviously it should be somewhere here also. If we have constructor in our program, it should be somewhere here also. So for this kind of a problem, there is a special keyword called as this keyword. This keyword is nothing but, see, I'm copying this file in both of the constructors, and I'll run the program again, and you will see the output. See, I am a default constructor, first line, then this is called, right? Then second object is created, so object created, then this is called. Then I printed the first object, then the second object. So we can see this thing and this thing is exactly same, and this thing and this thing is exactly same. So you can imagine it like this, the example which I used to give you, that whenever this object is created, suppose this is something 1001, this is stored inside obj1. This is the example I'm giving you, right? Similarly, when this is created, this is something 1003. So this goes inside obj2 1003. So we can see whatever was 1001, same is here as well. Whatever was 1003, same is here as well. So do you understand what is this now? What do we mean by this? This is a special keyword. एक ऐसा वेरिएबल जो हमें अपने आप बना बनाया मिलता है, जो कि जिस समय ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट हुआ उस समय का एड्रेस अपने अंदर स्टोर रखता है. सिंपल सी बात है, और इससे ज्यादा कुछ इसमें कंफ्यूज होने की जरूरत नहीं है. What is this? This is a special variable that stores the address of the newly created object. तो जिसके भी थ्रू आपने इसको कॉल किया, जिस भी जगह पूरी क्लास में आप कभी भी आएंगे, वही आपका दिस होगा. अगर मैं सम फंक्शन के अंदर भी कह दूं, सपोज sysout I am called using this, तो हमें ये पता चल जाएगा किसने कॉल किया था. देखो, I am called using this, so that means because कहां से कॉल किया था हमें, देखो obj2 से. obj2 का एड्रेस देखो और इसका एड्रेस देखो, सेम है. जिसने भी इसको कॉल किया, जो भी जिसने कॉल किया था, उसका एड्रेस हमेशा दिस के अंदर होता है. दैट इज दिस. इज इट क्लियर ऑल ऑफ यू? राइट? whomsoever, whatever object is going to call any function or a field or whatever it is, that address is inside this. ये सिंपल सी बात है इसकी. ठीक है? another usage of this. If there are many constructors available, then this can also be used to call another constructor within itself. देखो अभी मैं कहा हूं दिस एग्जाम्पल के पैरामीटराइज्ड कंस्ट्रक्टर में, राइट? इसको प्रोग्राम को रन करते हैं। देखो आई एम डिफॉल्ट 2 बार कॉल हुआ डिफॉल्ट। क्यों? क्योंकि पहले तो इसका कॉल हुआ, सेकेंड टाइम जब हमने दिस एग्जाम्पल के पैरामीटराइज्ड का ऑब्जेक्ट बनाया फिर से ये कॉल हुआ, हमने फिर से उसको वहां भेज दिया, तो फिर से ये वाली लाइन प्रिंट हो गई, राइट? सो और सेकेंड वे, अभी तक हमारे प्रोग्राम में क्या प्रॉब्लम है? आई कैन नॉट कॉल obj1.sum। बताओ क्यों? अगर मैं कॉल करूंगा तो कुछ उल्टा सीधा आउटपुट या कुछ भी आ सकता है। इज इट करेक्ट? obj1.sum क्या एरर है इस प्रोग्राम में, अभी ये बताओ। सी फॉर obj2.sum इट वाज वर्किंग फाइन, 30 आंसर आता था। व्हाट अबाउट obj1.sum? दिस इज obj, क्या आंसर आएगा इसका? क्या सम आएगा? क्या रिटर्न करेगा ये? टेल मी। A and B are not initialized in random value. Yes, Dibyasam? See, if you remember from first slide, we said in Java, all the instance variables are auto-initialized by 0, but whatever best value is there. So for this, the best value is 0. For double, it would be 0.0. So if we are not initializing, it automatically initializes it. If it was a C language, then it would be a random value, garbage value, in fact, what we say. But in Java, it is a 0. It is an initialized value. But why I'm discussing it here is, we do not want it to be 0. But there could be a certain case like this also, that we do not have A and B values right now while creating the object. But we can say, अगर कोई गलती से भी ऐसा करता है, let us not be disappoint him. We will say by default let A and B be 10. देखो क्या होगा अब। क्या होगा अभी? जब भी कोई एक ब्लैंक कंस्ट्रक्टर कॉल करेगा, द डिफॉल्ट कंस्ट्रक्टर कॉल करेंगे, उस समय हम कह रहे हैं ऐसा करते हैं क्यों ना हम इसको कॉल करा लें। ठीक, अगर हम इसको कॉल करा लेंगे तो ऑटोमेटिकली जो हमने वैल्यूज पास करी वो उस पर इनिशियलाइज हो जाएंगी, राइट? लेकिन ये वाला काम भी आप सिर्फ फर्स्ट लाइन में ही कर सकते हैं। अ कंस्ट्रक्टर कैन कॉल अनदर कंस्ट्रक्टर इन फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ द स्टेटमेंट ओनली। अभी क्या होगा? फॉर obj1 ऑल्सो हमने तो खाली भेजा, लेकिन इसमें क्या करा भाई, एक काम करो, इसको 10 इनिशियलाइज कर दो। ये यहाँ से इस कंस्ट्रक्टर पे आएगा, इसके वाले सारे काम करेगा, वापस यहाँ आएगा, फिर ये आउटपुट आएगा। तो अभी देखना आउटपुट इसका। So object created with A is equal to 10, B is equal to 10. Then default constructor का काम शुरू हुआ। पहले this, पहले यहाँ गया, 10 और 10 की वैल्यू इनिशियलाइज हुई और ये सारा काम हो गया, राइट? थर्ड इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, दिस का तीसरा इंपॉर्टेंट यूज। सपोज यहाँ पे, क्योंकि ये तो लोकल वेरिएबल है कंस्ट्रक्टर में, मैंने लिख दिया ए बी, ये मैं करना चाहता हूं। अब देखो क्या हुआ, ये क्या कहेंगे इसको हम, भाई मेरे जो क्लास के वेरिएबल्स हैं दे आर ऑल्सो ए एंड बी, और ये जो पैरामीटर्स हैं जो कि लोकल वेरिएबल्स हैं हालांकि, बट दे आर हैविंग सम एम्बिग्यूटी नाउ। कौन सा ए है और कौन सा ए है? ये वाला ए है कि ये वाला ए है? सो फॉर कंपाइलर इट इज एन एम्बिग्यूटी, राइट? वी आर सीइंग एन एम्बिग्यूटी हियर। अगर मैं ऐसा लिखता हूँ, देखो क्या किया मैंने यहाँ, भाई ये कोई गलती थोड़ी है, मैं इंट ए भी लिख सकता हूँ और ये वेरिएबल भी ए भी हो सकता है। अगर मैंने ऐसा लिख दिया तो इस लाइन में प्रॉब्लम आ गई कि कौन से ए में कौन से ए की वैल्यू डालनी है। इस ए का मतलब कौन है और इस ए का मतलब कौन है? समझ में आई प्रॉब्लम? दिस इज कॉल्ड एम्बिग्यूटी प्रॉब्लम। इसको भी सॉल्व करने के लिए हमें कुछ ना कुछ किसी एक को यूनिकली आइडेंटिफाई करना पड़ेगा। इफ यू रिमेंबर इन सी लैंग्वेज अगर ऐसा कुछ होता था, कब होता था ऐसा कुछ, जब आपके पास मेन फंक्शन में भी a नाम का वेरिएबल हो और एक ग्लोबल a नाम का भी वेरिएबल हो और आपने लिखा a इजिकल टू 10। उन्होंने कहा था कि बाय डिफॉल्ट मैं तो इसको जानता हूं जो मेरे सबसे पास है, अगर आपको ये 10 वैल्यू इसकी सेट करनी थी सो यू हैव टू रिजोल्व द एम्बिग्यूटी बाय यूजिंग अ स्कोप रेजोल्यूशन ऑपरेटर। आप ये ऑपरेटर लगाते थे जिसकी हेल्प से आप कहते थे नहीं मैं बाहर वाले एक ही बात कर रहा हूं। रिमेंबर दिस थिंग? यस और नो? राइट। सो जो यहाँ की एम्बिग्यूटी हमारे पास है इसको कैसे सॉल्व करें हम? अगेन दिस इज हेल्पफुल फॉर solving this as well. So I can say this dot A and this dot B. अब यहाँ पे दिस क्या कह रहा है? कह रहा है जिसने भी भाई तुम्हें कॉल किया है, जो नया ऑब्जेक्ट बना है, उस नए ऑब्जेक्ट के A में ये लोकल वाली वैल्यू डाल दो, नए वाले ऑब्जेक्ट के B में ये लोकल वाली वैल्यू डाल दो। तो क्या हुआ? वी हैव रिजोल्व द एम्बिग्यूटी यूजिंग द दिस कीवर्ड। क्लियर? सो दिस के देखो कितने सारे काम हो गए। पहली चीज, दिस इज अ स्पेशल वेरिएबल दैट होल्ड द एड्रेस ऑफ अ न्यूली क्रिएटेड ऑब्जेक्ट। इट इज एक्सेसिबल इनसाइड द क्लास। इसे आप दिस को यहाँ पे नहीं लिख सकते हो क्योंकि यहाँ पे कोई है ही नहीं। दिस वी आर इन स्टैटिक मेथड, यहाँ कोई ऑब्जेक्ट ही नहीं है, राइट? जहां पे भी दिस लिखोगे तो जिस क्लास के अंदर आपने कोड लिखा है उसकी बात हो रही है, जिस ऑब्जेक्ट ने उसको कॉल किया। दिस कैन बी यूज टू कॉल डिफरेंट डिफरेंट कंस्ट्रक्टर्स। अगर अब मैं ये लाइन लिख दूं तो ये इन हो जाएगी, इनफाइनाइट लूप बन जाएगा। देखो, रिकर्सिव कंस्ट्रक्टर इन्वोकेशन। मैं कह रहा हूं जब ऑब्जेक्ट बने तू इसको कॉल कर ले भाई, तू इसको कॉल कर ले भाई। एंड दिस इज द रीजन व्हाई कंस्ट्रक्टर हैज टू बी इन द फर्स्ट लाइन। अगर ये कहीं पे भी होता तो सोचो कंपाइलर के लिए कितना काम बढ़ जाता, वो पूरे प्रोग्राम में ढूंढता रहता कहीं रिकर्सिव कॉल तो नहीं हो रही। इसलिए कंस्ट्रक्टर ने कहा कि जिसको सबसे पहली लाइन में लिखो, मैं कंपाइल टाइम में चेक कर लूंगा कि कहीं आपने दोनों में कंस्ट्रक्टर कॉल तो नहीं कर दी। तो देखो उसने तुरंत आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया कि आप रिकर्सिव कॉल कर रहे हो, आप इसको कॉल कर रहे हो, फिर इसको कॉल कर रहे हैं, फिर इसको कॉल करेगा, फिर इसको, सारे दिन लगे रहेंगे दोनों। राइट? क्लियर? ग्रेट। देन आफ्टर दिस एक चीज थी जो मैंने अभी छोड़ी थी, ये कि व्हाट इज दिस बेसिकली, राइट? सो लेट अस सी व्हाट इज दिस। I'll create a new class for this here. This is my class. मैं नया एग्जाम्पल से दूं कि एक चीज आपके एक प्रोग्राम में रहे और आप उसको समझ सके आराम से। बहुत ज्यादा कोड होता है तो देखने में दिक्कत होगी। डेमो ऑब्जेक्ट क्लास, राइट? अब अगर मैं लिखता हूं कि डेमो ऑब्जेक्ट क्लास ओबीजे इज इक्वल टू न्यू डेमो ऑब्जेक्ट क्लास एंड सिस आउट ओबीजे, तो फिर से वैसा ही कुछ आउटपुट हमें देखने को मिलेगा जैसा हमने पहले देखा था। सिमिलर आउटपुट क्रिएटेड दिस, राइट? Suppose I have inside this class some values, maybe int A and B, और उसको पैरामीटराइज कर देता हूँ, बल्कि int A, int B, this dot A is equal to A, this dot B is equal to B, right? अब मैं ऐसे वैल्यूज पास कर दूंगा कुछ पे। Still, if I see the output, I will get the similar output created demo classes, right? The name of the class, at the rate symbol, and some code is written here. But what I want is basically, I want an output to be something like this.
Sir, your voice is breaking. Cannot understand it.
Is it clear now? Sibisum, is it okay?
So it is breaking. So we are like hearing it in chunks.
What can be done? Is it okay now? Because it is connected on broadband 5G networking. Now, okay, right. So, see, what I have done is I have created a parameterized constructor. I have passed two values, and what I want in the output is println suppose a is equal to plus a, b is equal to plus b. Obj dot a and obj dot b. जावा एप्लीकेशन। मैं चाहता हूं कि जब भी मैं इस प्रोग्राम को एग्जीक्यूट करूं, मैंने अगर लिखा obj, तो ऐसा कुछ आउटपुट आए, ना कि ऐसा कुछ। दिस इज माय रिक्वायरमेंट। मैं चाहता हूं जब भी मुझे कोई ऑब्जेक्ट देखना हो, पिक इन करना हो कि क्या है उसके अंदर, देन आई विल जस्ट डायरेक्टली से print obj. It should print me some descriptive message instead of something useless like this. So for that we have one thing here. Suppose I write something here like this, to string. See what I have written, obj dot to string. If you remember, this is one of the method of your object class. Remember, see here, out of these 11 methods, there is one method called as toString method from the object class. देखना कुछ आउटपुट पे फर्क पड़ेगा क्या? See, I'm getting exactly the same output. So what we can conclude here is, if I'm printing any object, by default, this method is called on every object in Java, on every object. If you are directly printing the reference variable, it will always call this method. And that is why you see this. The output is not of the obj, the output is of obj.toString method. So if I want something useful to be printed, something like this, what I can do is, again, I am overriding, again, this is in inheritance, but it came today because of discussion. So we are just discussing this one right here. This is called as overriding, because my parent class is object class. उसके अंदर एक मेथड है toString नाम का। देखो क्या लिखा, रिटर्न सुपर डॉट टू स्ट्रिंग। अगर मैंने ओवरराइड भी कर दिया तब भी देखा आउटपुट एग्जैक्टली सेम आएगा, बिल्कुल सेम आउटपुट आ रहा है, राइट? स्टिल what I can do here, I can say return this. This dot a and this dot b. Whatever I want to do, I can, it is a function. I can say I'll create a string that will contain many other things, concatenate it with this as well, right? Whatever we do here, that will happen, whatever we want to do. But now the benefit is, just by writing obj, nothing else, every time I will get a very meaningful answer. See, a is equal to 10, b is equal to 20, just by writing obj. Even if I create another object, obj2, and then again I say print obj2, so we can see we are getting very meaningful answer. Let me change the values, 40, 20 suppose. See, for first one is 10, 20, for second one is 40, 20. So whatever we have written here, that is actually printing for us, right? So basically this is the method. Whenever you print anything like this, it is automatically called. That's why you see that hash code. And just to see what is there inside, if I write something that was previously written here, that was super dot toString. See, this is what we were actually printing on the screen previously. Get class dot get name. So this is the function that can return the class name at the rate sign and a hash code. This was the hash code that we were getting printed previously. So anytime whenever you print any object, this is the reason why you do get that output, because you are printing the class name with a hash at the rate sign in between and then the hash code, right? Have a look on this because I have another class at 3, and whatever questions you have, we'll discuss in the next class. Okay, bye. Good.